Yeah, and you mentioned the congregation politics. Is that something that you noticed looking back, or is that something you actually observed openly as it was happening in real time?
Oh, both, but absolutely within. That's a whole other topic, but
Yeah, I'm curious to hear more about that because
that's something to dive into. I don't know where you want to if you want to dive into that, but yeah, it was the Jehovah's Witnesses. Um, definitely have some weird stuff that goes on in the congregation as an organization.
is this based off financial hierarchy, or is this based on like a if you're a man you get away with anything?
It's a highly misogynistic organization. Um, Women are second class citizens, but it's very it's painted like, oh, the women, we love our sisters, don't we love our wives and sisters, but it's like it's insults our intelligence because we don't have the same opportunities. And but to answer your question, I mean, as far as like congregation politics, there's definitely a hierarchy. There's a control of the flow of information. Men rule everything, and a big thing that people may not be aware of is Jehovah's Witnesses have an internal judicial system. So even if you did something in the outside world, in the real world, that doesn't mean anything, it's not a big deal, or it was legal, they don't care about the outside world. They're going to judge you. So you have it's complete this isolationist society where everything is completely relevant and contained. You live in a very tight-knit community. So it's not like I go to church on Sunday and I love my church and I have friends, but I also have friends at school and I do things it's like your whole life is being one of Jehovah's Witnesses, and what happens in the congregation is the most relevant thing. So they have their own judicial system or internal court system. So if you break one of their many rules, you will be called before a judicial committee, which is a tribunal of three men. And just going to throw this out there, this is not news to anybody who's a former witness who may be watching this. Two kids fool around, two 16-year-olds, all right? The girl is going to get punished and the guy is going to get off in more ways than one. All right. So the girl, sorry, that's crass, but the girl is disproportionately, the woman is always disproportionately punished over the man. Men do get punished in the Jehovah's Witnesses. And what happens in the Jehovah's Witnesses is they have a process called disfellowshipping. Okay. So if you are disfellowshipped, if they deem you guilty of a spiritual crime, through their lens, something that they believe is wrongdoing, you will be disfellowshipped or excommunicated from the congregation and you will be shunned. Or if you disassociate, which I did, which means I left. They didn't kick me out. I left. I revoked my membership. Then that's even worse. That's like you left of your own volition. Wow, you know. So, and then you're shunned as well. So, there's definitely rewards and punishments and a lot of psychological abuse and manipulation that
Is
keeps
this
people.
is this shunning mean from that church or from the whole entire religion?
Oh, anywhere you go. If you pull
Anywhere
out
you go, so everyone knows.
if you pull out your JW card, anywhere you go, you're going to get canceled no matter where you go. So, but it's a self-sealing system. And I didn't come up with that term. Dr. Janya Lalich, I think it was, she wrote a book called Leaving Utopia or Exiting, I think it's Leaving Utopia. And she's been featured in many documentaries. She's very good at what she does. She was in a cult for many years and now she's a cult expert and a leading authority on the subject, and she has used the term self-sealing system. So in other words, you don't have to have somebody standing over you beating you with a whip. You'll just do it to yourself. So if you're disfellowshipped, you know you don't speak to anybody. And in order for you to be reinstated into the congregation and have the right to speak to people and have people speak to you, basically for anybody to acknowledge your existence, you have to go through a reinstatement process where you show penance and you show up to all the meetings. Jehovah's Witnesses don't call it church. They call it meetings. So basically, let's say I get kicked out. I don't I would not be able to speak to my family. My family can't speak to me. I can't speak to any of my friends or anybody in the congregation no matter where I go, whether it's my home congregation or if I travel to Europe. I know I better keep my mouth shut because I'm disfellowshipped. So it's crazy. The mind control is really intense. And if I want to be reinstated, I have to go back and basically beg and grovel for their forgiveness and put in a formal request to be reinstated.
But it's a lot harder to get. Yeah. So it's a lot harder to get kicked out as a man than a woman, though.
I'm sorry.
It's a lot harder to get kicked out as a man versus being a woman.
Oh yeah, if you are a woman in a judicial committee, you're already guilty.
Oh, it's like
You're
that.
you're already guilty.
Because how easy are these
Unless,
rules
unless,
to?
unless you're a nepo baby. Unless you're a nepo baby.
Oh,
Unless your dad is an elder. So they don't call them elders, and the Jehovah's Witnesses are like the pastors or priests of the congregation. They take the lead in the congregation. That's every denomination has their term. So for Jehovah's Witnesses, it's elders. So like if their daughter, if a elder, his daughter, um, you know, messed up or oops or whatever, got pregnant out of wedlock or something, she might get a little slap on the wrist because her daddy's an elder. Actually, funny enough, my father was an elder, but he wasn't high on the totem pole. That's what I'm talking about, congregation politics. So, if something happened to me, it'd be like, oh, Beth, kick her out, or whatever, that kind of thing. But it's a boys' club, an old boys' club. So my father was low on the totem pole. If something happened to some daughter or wife to somebody who's higher up in the hierarchy, well then like we'll let it slide because it'll look bad through the optics of the congregation. Does that make sense?